Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's actually funny because I got a similar question asking me, how do I hire my first employee and when? I just remember this because I was going through my phone and I was kind of like, okay, that's funny because, you know, what does a person need to hire maybe their first employee ever? When do you know is the right time to actually hire someone to help you out, Julian?
It's a good question.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the business that you're in. It really, really depends. But like, you know, the easiest way, I think this is what I tell a lot of my clients as well, who have never hired anyone, they've never interviewed anyone, is, you know, usually you can start out just by like subcontracting to people. You know, you can find freelancers, you can subcontract to. Again, like I don't really hire off of Upwork anymore. But when you're starting out and you're just trying to find people who will do work here and there, like Upwork is great for freelancers, right? Freelancers, they want to work on their own schedule. They want to work on their own time. They don't really want to be committed to anyone. They make fucking horrible employees, but
we figured that out now.
But if you need to get, you know, a landing page designed or you need to get some copy done for, you know, your emails, you can find freelancers that are already good at that and they'll deliver it on their own time and their own schedule, which is fine if that's all you need, right? And sometimes like, if it's just on a per project basis, it's fine. Like we have freelancers that we work with on a per project basis. So that was the first hire I did, was I would just find freelancers that I would kind of send projects to whenever I had like, you know, other different businesses that I was working with and maybe I had too much, you know, on my plate. I'll kind of like outsource work to them. But, you know, now it's like we need consistency. We need consistency. We need reliability. If we don't have people take like enough availability on the calendar to take like hundreds of calls a month, like that fucks up everything. So now we need people that are full-time, 100%, like on the team. They don't do anything else except work for us. And we know the exact time frames and deadlines that we can expect everything by. So it's changed. But yeah, I think when you're starting out, having a contractor is really good. Like a few freelancers you can outsource to. And then once you want to find your first full-time employee, for me, I've actually, the first hire that I had full-time was, I had a VA, so
Same.
Shamir. He was from Pakistan and found him actually through Upwork. And obviously the exchange rates are much more different. So like average salary in Pakistan is, I think, like, and this is for like people think Pakistan, like, oh, it's like, they don't know English. No, they learn English from like grade 2, you know?
They're amazing.
Exactly. It's super amazing. Love shit. Like, honestly, everyone I've worked with in Pakistan is super amazing. Yeah. And their English is amazing. They're very hardworking, very intelligent, and very open to learning new things. And they've, at least everyone I've worked with, they've learned the skills that we've taught them in sales very, very quickly. Now with Shamir, when I started working with him, he was the first full-time hire. So it was still kind of like, you know, my business was very small at the time. And what he told me, like, I mean, he obviously didn't tell me that at the time, but now that we've been working together for a year, we've talked about like, you know, the income that he's making like a few grand a month. And what he's told me is like, dude, in Pakistan, he's like, you don't understand. He's like, in Pakistan, like once you, like they go to university, they go to college, like my sister and my best friend's sister, like she went to the best university in Pakistan. She's got a job in an amazing company and she makes like $190 a month.
That's honestly insane.
Which sounds crazy, but they're paying like $20 a month for rent. You know, like it's just like the prices are so much lower, right? Shamir, like he got himself a 5-bedroom massive apartment, even bigger than our house, even bigger than our place, for $200 a month, right? And we're paying him like over $2,000 a month. So that's like, you know, compared to your income, like, you know, they're doing well. So anyway, Shamir was the first person I hired full time. I was paying him like, I think $600 or $800 a month, which was great for him because he was like,
it's a triple what they usually make.
Yeah, it was triple what he was making.
200, 300 monthly.
He had no college degree. He was like, you know, I think like 19 or 20 years old when he started. So he was super young and he was making 3 or 4 times more money than everyone else in his family was.
Balling.
And he didn't really have too many skills when he started, but he was super open to learning. So I kind of trained him on sales. Trained him to kind of like help me out with a lot of the tasks I was doing. And that was the first role that I hired. And it took a lot off my plate. He was a huge help. We've been working together for over a year. And that was the first hire that I made. And it worked out really, really well. But I had to interview like, I think 50 people before I picked him.
I got a little bit more lucky, I'd say. I only interviewed about 10 people. And I found my first VA. And she was literally doing everything. She was from the Philippines, helping me with emails, Instagram, all of that stuff that, you know, just takes a lot of time from you. But what I really want to say is, when do you know when you should hire your first employee is really when you personally know exactly how things work. Like you can hire an employee, for example, for, let's say, Facebook ads. We talked about this earlier. Without knowing yourself how to do ads or how marketing works or how to build a funnel, for example. So
I think there's one caveat to that.
Okay.
So So when you're starting out in business, like we're bootstrapping, we're putting stuff together, we're just starting out. Like technically we could find people to do jobs much better than we could do them, right? And like, for example, like let's say we're trying to find a marketer that's an amazing marketer. We could find someone who's better at that than we can. We can do it, and they would succeed at that if we could hire that person. But when you're starting out, the odds are you probably don't have the resources to make it make sense economically in your business, right? To find a real professional like that. So odds are when you're starting out,
money.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of money when you're starting out. If you're a big company, you got hundreds of millions of dollars. Fuck yeah, you can go to the top 100 marketers and say, I'll pay you 10 mil to go basically do this campaign for me. You know, and if they've had a track record of success, and they're the best in the industry, then they might genuinely be better than the CEO in marketing, right? Like if you look at like real top level talent, right? And they can actually go in and do things. But odds are is when you're starting out, you can't afford that, right? And the only reason why you're succeeding in business is because you have the skills and knowledge in your brain yourself, right? You are the business at this point. And when you're starting out, instead of being able to spend, $200K a year on someone that's, a top level, high performance person, you're going to have to actually just find people and train them up yourself. And that's the route that most business owners go, is like, you can't afford to pay top level people. So you choose to take lower level people and use your time instead to train them. Yeah,
because you are your own leverage when you first start out in your business. And I also wanted to go back to what you said. I kind of disagree. Let's say, you're just starting out and for some reason you have your parents' money, for example. Now, you could hire people with your parents' money and hire them to do marketing. And maybe they're better than you, but if you have no clue how to run a business and where you want to go, they're going to do whatever they think is right. So your vision might completely, diminish in the process of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like, I still will stick with my argument because, like, okay, first of all, if you have parents' money, I don't think your parents are going to give you like $100 million.
Some people.
Okay, some people, right? But like some of them, like it's more about the connections and having the right people. Like, let's say you look at like a startup VC fund, some tech company from Silicon Valley. You look at Airbnb, or you look at like fucking Uber, right? Some of these guys knew what they were doing, but then other like, little, I guess, unicorn companies like this, they have a really good idea, right? They have a really good idea, and then they get the funding, right? They get a funding, and they'll get funded for like, fucking $100 million or something like that, right? And with these VC firms, they're not going to invest like $100 million and just say, oh, here, do whatever you want with it, right? Usually they give you the money, but they also say they have the connection. So it's like, look, we're going to give you the $100 million. We already have and we have all the connections, right? Of like the best marketers, the best, products growth people, the best operations people that we're going to basically connect you with so that we can turn this into a real company. Right? And they almost take over of the growth. The founder has the idea, but then they kind of get like bought out, and they still kind of have to like run the company. They're still the CEO, but through these like, seed capital investment firms, I'm not too familiar with like the whole, tech area. I'm more bootstrap, but you see that sometimes. And then they basically, they already have like, products growth people that are on the board of like 10 different companies. And they're like, look, this guy knows how to scale, SaaS companies from Silicon Valley. He's going to come in, he's going to basically take over this whole department and like, they kind of like grow the company that way.
Definitely. I agree with that. I was more going from, the perspective of someone like us that didn't really
100%.
have a lot.
No, 100%. Yeah. But most people, it's not the case. That's what I'm saying. There's one small caveat. That wasn't the case for us. I don't think that's the case for 99% of people. So
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's check out the next little question that we get. Let's choose something super interesting.
Okay. This is a good one.
Okay.
Add some transparency, things you learn by doing every day, tips, and marketing structure. It's kind of a jumbled up question,
everything.
But like he's kind of like asking us to be an open book on the day-to-day things and tips that we do and how we market.